Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman, Wargamer. It's an open the box, and yes, I know I'm a bit late to the party with this one, but I've only just managed to get it off the shelf to have a look at, and it is, of course, Skies Above Britain, a Battle of Britain game designed by Jerry White and Gina Willis, and published, of course, by GMT Games, and a great box cover illustration by Antonis Karadis. So let's have a look at the back of the box. Skies Above Britain is a solitaire game depicting a Royal Air Force fighter squadron tasked to disrupt and destroy German daylight bombing raids over southeast England in the summer of 1940. The player's individual aircraft must locate the incoming raid, intercept it, and evade or defeat escorting German fighters. The game simulates the dogfighting and the fighter versus bomber action at an individual aircraft level using a card-assisted system that simulates key tactical decision-making. A player can fly scenarios representing an individual patrol, or use the situation manual to create individual patrols, multi-patrol campaigns, or larger campaigns covering the entire Battle of Britain. Each patrol will take a half hour or more to play, while a campaign may last anywhere between 6 and 28 patrols. Unlike its predecessors, Skies Above the Reich and Storm Above the Reich, here the bombers are lightly armed and are at the mercy of determined interceptors, but the German escort is brutal, and their tactical formations of the Rotte and Schwarm are difficult to contend with. Skies Above Britain shifts detail from encounters between fighters and bombers to dogfights between fighter and escort. Will you strike the bombers from a high flank angle to get a safer shot, or make a daring head-on attack to break their formation apart? Will you split your squadron to engage escorting Messerschmitts before they bounce you from out of the sun? Or will you charge into the bombers? You decide. Yes, I understand this game is very different to the aforementioned Skies and Storm Above the Reich, and I'm quite excited to see how it works. But in the box we've got one interception game board, one squadron display game board, one ME110 circle display, 4 counter sheets, one rules booklet, one situation manual, and one optionals booklet, 3 player aids, one ME110 circle display, I think that might be a repeat, but we'll find out, 200 playing cards, a pad of roster sheets, 2 historical log sheets, 1 sheet of stickers, 38 wood blocks, 10 wood cubes, 1 wood cylinder, and 2 dice. Game scale, individual fighters, time scale, each turn is equal to seconds and minutes, and the map scale is area movement. Players 1, of course, ages 14 plus, complexity 5 out of 9, and of course the solitaire suitability is 9 out of 9. So a very heavy 3-inch box. So let's get the shrink wrap off. The shrink wrap is off, and once again a great piece of art there from Antonis. So let's open the box. First thing we see are, 3 booklets, optionals, situation manual, and of course the rules. And this is something I'm very interested in looking at, tying this in to Mr. Butterfield's RAF, The Battle of Britain from Decision Games. But let's have a look at the rules first. This comes in at 63 pages, including the back index page, full colour, glossy paper. So an introduction, which is always welcome, about the historical context of the game, how to play. Newbie boxes, we like that. Campaign and chapters, a patrol, how to sticker your blocks, squadron display and the 12-sided die, the game space, formations and the dogfight cycle. So lots of details on that. What is a dogfight? Oh yes, lots on this. A big part of the game is geared around dogfights. Bomber cycle. This is something I don't think you want to see happening successfully anyway. Sequence of play for the bomber cycle. Good to see lots of pictures and examples. Interception sequence. Oh dear. Orders phase, intercept phase. Fuel. Circling. Engaging the 110 circle. Intercept bombers. Cruising. There's so much in this. Entropy. So in case that happens, you've got 3 steps to see if you can chase the bombers. Bomber formation area, escort reaction, and a chase. Patrol complete. Fuel. Recovery. Exit of escort. Channel patrols. Reforming. Raid vectors and swirl again. Raid vector sequence. Here's the sequence of play for that. RTB. Return to base. Fate of the pilots and all that sort of thing. Pilot experience. Ranking up your pilots. Icon results. Right. Going through all those. And the card icons, what they mean. Return fire icons and an index on the back. Crikey, them's the rules. Next is the situation manual, 51 pages. And this is what I believe we use to learn the game with. Play to learn, learn to play. This manual may be used in 4 ways. First, it presents all the information you need to play a campaign, and this game is primarily designed to be played as a campaign. Second, it presents introductory scenarios intended to teach the game. Third, most scenarios are followed by examples of play. Many people learn by seeing the rules in action. You're darn right. And even if you don't actually play all of the scenarios, perusing the examples that show you those scenarios may demonstrate how the game works. Fourth, you can use this manual to generate the setup for single patrols. We realise you may not have the time or inclination to play a campaign, so you can use this to set up a generic patrol. Fantastic. So here we are, dogfight scenarios. Again, we won't go through it in too much detail because I don't know what's going on yet. Here we go, scenario 1, flyby. Scenario 2 and so on. So we'll whiz through these. But this is what I love about this series of games, and indeed Jerry's other games, the way he teaches you the game, fantastic. And Gina's input has been incredible, because this, as I said earlier, is quite different to Jerry's earlier 2 games in this series. So I hope this and the other unboxings and playthroughs may, if you've not decided to have a go with this, may decide you to check it out a bit further. Loads of stuff. Patrol example. Aha, campaigns. Skirmishing over the channel. It does look completely different. Yeah. There we are. And if that wasn't enough, a 19-page booklet of optional rules. You're welcome to adopt one or more of these optional rules. So there we go. Confirm kills, weave, random events. You like those. Explaining those there, I assume. Graduated replacements. Moved dogfight markers, break. Ah! This is what I wanted to look at. So, yeah, this is quite involved. Brilliant game. I've done a playthrough of this. So how to incorporate this game into RAF. It will, of course, as it says here, Gina's written a little intro to this. It won't be for everybody because it will add a lot of time to the game. So it says right at the end here, one way to look at Skies Above Britain is that it shows you more detail of what happens in RAF Lion's hunt box and or in-flight box, and puts more of the tactical decisions in your hands. So it tells you how to set this up, and it says it's more of a guide than rules because they're melding the 2 games together, so there's got to be a little bit of give and take and a bit of artistic interpretation and all that. But my goodness, it looks great. If you haven't got RAF, The Battle of Britain 1940 from Decision Games, I know it's another expensive game, but my goodness, another good one. So look, lots about combining the 2 games, translated combat results between the paired games. And the squadron loss replacements, which you do in RAF. So a big chunk of this optional rules booklet is combining the 2 games together. There is an historical pilot roster showing you actual pilots from the campaign. 501 Squadron, it says, I think. County of Gloucester, a Hurricane Squadron. And these are all quite near me. Croydon, Middle Wallop, Gravesend and Kenley. And they had 19 pilots killed in action during this period. Mid-August 1940. More than any other fighter command squadron. Oh, here it is. And the welcomed designer notes, or designers' notes, and bibliography. And on the back, summary, I assume, of the random events and the break effects and pilot replacement tables. Another game that's going to keep you busy. Next, there's a small single sheet of stickers. Not as many as the there were in the previous two games. We've got some more roster sheets filled in for the 54th Squadron. They're blank on the back. And one for the 303 Squadron. Again, blank on the back. Next, we've got some player aids. And they're all bifold. This one is showing you the sequence of play. A sort of funky looking flowchart by the looks of it. And on the other side, showing you vector marker results and other icon results. Next, we've got the interception sequence. And on the other side of that, the abilities of the different types of pilots, green, regular, and ace. The raid vector sequence and return to base sequence on the other side over here. And lastly, on one side of this bifold, we've got the intercept bombers tables and charts, and on the other side, the charts for intercepting escorts. A pad of blank pilot rosters, double-sided. The 110 circle display, that's single-sided. 4 counter sheets are next. Counter sheet 1. Some of these will look a little familiar if you've played the other games. Here's the other side. Here's the second, more familiar counter sheet, if you like. You'll see why in a moment. These look familiar from the other games. And the other side. We don't like to see that. Like to see that though. Here's the third counter sheet. See what I mean? These are completely new. Heinkels on one side. Dorniers and Junkers on the other side. Last counter sheet, some more bomber tiles. Here we see the Dorniers again. And on the other side, a Heinkel and Junkers bomber tile. And everybody's favourite, Stukers! Next are a couple of mounted map boards, but again, very different looking to what you're used to in the Skies Above series. Here's the squadron display and nice small footprint, split into A flight and B flight with your leaders, makeup of your pilots, and on the other side, when you feel you're ready, the advanced squadron display and a single-sided mounted map board. Can't quite get it all on camera. Along the side it looks like we've got maybe the cards where they go. Up the top here we've got the fate section and what happens to you or to your pilots depending on the aircraft's damage. Fuel track, return to base track. Oh, look. The interception map, really different looking with the raid track over here. That's those unusually shaped counters. And at the bottom, we've got the escort suppression table, the visibility and chase table here, an icon key, always handy, veteran privileges, and aircraft destroyed. A couple of D10s. A goodly amount of sort of larger black wooden blocks, some smaller blocks, wooden cubes, and a wooden cylinder with the German insignia on it. And the last thing to be found in the box are 3 bricks of cards. Let's have a look at those then. So we sorted them out. We've got escort reaction. Again, I haven't got a clue what these are doing yet. One thing I do know though, these cards are scratchy, so we're going to have to save them. We've got some bomber cards. This is for light bombers, and these look a little bit more familiar. So light bomber and medium bombers. Again, similar sort of thing. Cards with head-on and tailing for Spitfires. Oh, I see it split up into the two parts there. Head-on and tailing for Hurricanes. And something we don't want to see too often, the Luftwaffe advantage. Behind you! Tailed cards for the Hurricanes. I assumed if they are tailed. And yes, you've guessed it, one for Spitfires. Lastly, cards we want to see lots of, I assume. RAF advantage. Steady. And that's it, that's everything in the box. So this has been an Open the Box, admittedly a belated unboxing of a game that even at this early stage of its release seems to be getting very favourable reviews. And it is Skies Above Britain, designed by Jerry White and Gina Willis, and published, of course, by GMT Games. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and you found it interesting, even if it was a bit late off the mark. If you did though, and you haven't done so already, it would be great if you would consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help. Another thing that's good for the channel is to push that like button, the old thumbs up. And if you want to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then push the bell. By all means, I encourage you to leave a comment. There's a few playthroughs at the moment on YouTube, and everybody who's playing it seems to be having jolly good fun with it. But let me know, what do you think? The one thing to get out of this new game is that it's quite different from Storm and Skies Above the Reich. But whatever you put, I love to read them. Thanks as always to my subscribers. Thank you so much. And one last thing, as I always do at the end of the video, if you want to support the channel a little bit further, well now you can buy the channel a coffee, and a link for that will be in the description, or you can push the super thanks button. If you decide to do that, the channel thanks you and so do I, and it helps to keep things ticking along. So once again, thank you. Right, that's it. That's the unboxing done. A lot in that box. No wonder it's a big old box. But until the next video, as always, you take care and goodbye.